Jeff and Aaron's probably.
Huh?
It was Jeff and Aaron's probably.
Yeah, right. How's it going today? I just really interested just talking to those guys just because it's a piece of pie.
There's another one here. I'm just looking
It's a
through.
great team, but I mean, Jeff was like, sure, whatever it takes, and Jerem's like, but together they work out well.
Yes, they do.
It's 6 of them.
Okay. This is the July 10th meeting of the Village Board of Trustees. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, so I do a roll call.
Mayor Collopy,
Here.
Deputy Mayor Murphy,
Here.
Trustee Herzog,
Here.
Trustee Cantino, here, Trustee Dworkin.
Here.
Okay, thank you. There's the agenda for the night. Nothing too exciting. I'm just going to fuzz it. Scott, can you adjust the focus on that, or is that just my eyes? I think it's that, is it down? Well, that does the, how about that?
There's a big
black
dial.
one?
Another one?
Yeah,
Oh, there you go. That's where it's
that's good.
right there.
It's my eyes.
Yeah, I see.
We're still, we ordered the new equipment, right?
Yes.
Hopefully it comes next month.
Yes.
So we're going to take it into the firehouse. All right?
I like this setup. You don't want to
You know,
come back to here?
No, it's too cozy, man. You're too close. So hopefully we have that for next month. All right, Sarah, I appreciate you sending out the minutes for the last meeting early. Did everyone have a chance to look at them? Any corrections or updates? Getting a motion to accept the minutes.
So moved up.
In a second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. Minutes are accepted. Vouchers. So there was a final payment. I think that's $1,500. What was that $1,500 that you're looking at there, Vicki? Oh, that's right. You guys had some additional bills for the truck. I think that we paid late. So that's what that final bill was for 23-24. So that's enough. And there's the vouchers for the new fiscal year. The sidewalks, that's an additional new bill we got from Rinia for additional engineering work they've been doing, negotiating with Sunup. By the way, we just got a notice from Tom Harvey that the final bill from Sunup will be $55,000. When you subtract the $20,000 we're still owed from Dutchess County for the food development block grant, it means it'll be $35,000 out of pocket to us. And you'll see in a minute that before none of those numbers, Sarah and Karen had made an allocation of $40,000. So nice job there.
Yeah.
Okay. So that basically is the sum total for that project. Any questions about the vouchers for the either last year or this year? Can I get a motion to accept the vouchers?
I'll make that one.
In a second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, vouchers are accepted. Next, we're going to talk about budget adjustments. This is an eye chart here. The details are in your package. Here's the story. I don't like budget adjustments because it gives you a false idea in terms of what's going on as you go through. I like to know line by line who's over, who's under, whatever. Allows you to decide whether or not that's systematic or a one-shot deal, and whether something needs to be done about it for the next budget or not. However, in order to conform to GAAP requirements, prior to submitting the annual financial report to the state, Karen and Sarah have to go through and do these budget adjustments, which basically move money from one account within a department to another account. They basically add to zero, or very close to zero. You can see like at the top, some adjustments made to the police budget. The police budget, PS as the salaries, was underspent by $34,000, but we spent extra money for the Lexipol contract and repairs to one of the vehicles. All right, pretty much offset each other, and that's how we ended up allocating the reallocated money within the police budget. Fire, miscellaneous things back and forth, netting out to zero. Likewise, as you go down here, bottom left is the highway guys, in which we didn't spend as much money on salt, saved like $14,000 in the budget on salt, saved about $2,500 on overtime for snow plowing because there wasn't any. We had some additional repairs with vehicles. I think the old dump truck was one that was in need of it. So basically move money around just to make things even out within our budget. Chips over on top right, we spent more money than we had budgeted, but we got reimbursed the executive money from the state. So that's just marks next there. Front office, variety of things there, puts and takes. And what's at the bottom? Oh, the bottom is just the SIBs for the purchase of the Assistant Chief's fire truck as well as the new dump truck. Just allocating those SIBs to the appropriate lines. That's page 1. Page 2 is water and sewer. Again, more of the same thing. Doing pluses and minuses. If you go to the middle on the left-hand side, there's the $40,000, which we moved from New York class into the sidewalks category to accommodate the final payment for the sidewalk project, the south side of Franklin, phases 1 and 2. Tree replacement, we used the money donated from the tree garden to cover that, and then basically wiped out that account. And some miscellaneous things down there. The police department got a $1,000 donation. We just moved that over to the police equipment line. And so on and so forth. Bottom right-hand corner, here's the net. So there you see for the fiscal year 23-24, we ended up with revenue exceeding expenses by $65,000. And there's a main reason you can't really see it, but New York class brought in about $65,000 of revenue. I told you about the under billing requirement of underspending of the police, the road salt, the highway overtime, heating, fuel, and also lighting where we spent less than we budgeted. We also had about $8,000 more money in building permits than we budgeted. So that's the net, the $65,000. So that would go typically towards our unfunded fund balance, unrestricted fund balance. Now, I told you last year we achieved our target of 25% of the funds for the fund balance. That allowed us to put in place an investment policy, saying that was our bottom line we want to keep it at. The $65,000 raises the 25% to about 28%, all right, which is okay. Remember, the three reasons we have a fund balance is one, to make sure there's sufficient cash flow to be able to pay our bills as we go through the year month by month. The second is to be able to pay upfront for any capital improvement activities, like the sidewalks, if we're anticipating getting reimbursed later. And the third reason is for any special non-budgeted, typically one-time event things, which can be emergencies, and it can also be things like, I want to talk to you about possibly doing some additional sidewalk work. All right. Head replacement as opposed to we're talking about the block grant stuff. So I've got a proposal for that later on in the meeting.
Okay.
Any questions about the adjustments or how we finished out the year? Bottom line was a good year. We did a good job of managing finances again. And you shouldn't always expect to have to add to your fund balance, but it's a positive note to do that. It just shows that you're paying good attention to the finances. So any questions there?
In terms of this fiscal year, do we have a sense of we can repeat that or probably unlikely?
We expect New York class to be, we're conservative in our estimates from New York class. We expect to have less money earned from that than last year because the rates should be going down.
Yeah.
The weather's going to dictate what happens with, the highway spending. I expect with the chief here in place that we won't see the kind of underutilization of the police hours. That's one of his challenges to get the hours up to budget. And by the way, as I said to you, we're looking at an annual rate of expense. So therefore, if you underutilized police hours in June, that money rolls over to the rest of the year. It allows you, if the average was only 70 hours in June, you're able to work 90 hours in July. Right. So it averages out to 80. That's all we're looking for. Right. Just don't save it as a. Right. It doesn't earn interest. Okay. It goes away at the end of the year. Okay. All right. But conceptually, I think it's a nice budget. Okay. We always need to watch closely about that. As far as water and sewer, we're still waiting on the final numbers there just because the building that's going to go out, I think this month, we count 2/3 of that towards last fiscal year, just the way they do the accounting. And my expectation is that we're going to be on target for sewer, but under budget for water. Yeah, that was money, I guess, that we budgeted, but I think in general we just had more expenses or less revenue than we expected. That's my outlook. We'll wait and see if that goes next month. Okay. So any other comments or questions about the final 23-24 report? All right.
I do need a motion for the budget adjustments.
Oh, so I give a motion to accept the budget adjustments as presented.
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thanks for catching me on that, Sarah.
Thank you.
All right, let's move on to fire and rescue. So who's got it, Kevin or Matt?
I got it.
All right, go ahead.
All right, so for June 2024, we had 83 incidents reported, 15 automatic fire alarms, 48 EMS calls, 2 carbon monoxides, 3 motor vehicle accidents, 2 brush fires, 1 structure fire, 1 lockout, 3 on wires, 5, and 1 vehicle lockout. EMS response, 4979 responded 43 times. LFD ambulance 1 time. Of those 43 times gone out, we had 26 times that no fire department members were on the scene and assisted 79. Usually given, we had none for fire. We had 5 for EMS, probably multiple calls in the district, in the area. Mutually received, 1 for fire and 5 times for EMS because, again, probably multiple calls in our town.
Because of what?
Multiple calls in our district at the time.
At the same time?
Yeah.
Okay.
As far as drills go this month, we have a pretty busy month with block party coming up this week. Tying that up, we do have, I was Assistant Chief of Unionville contacted me Monday night. We have a drill with them, with Unionville Monday night at Skyacres Airport to do a walkthrough with Skyacres Airport. And LifeNet is coming out with a helicopter to go over helicopter operations as well.
Cool.
So Dominic's going to be putting the text out to the members to go to do that night.
It's pretty cool. All right.
No new members I can think of, right, Matt?
Nope.
This month.
You were chief last month, so that's okay.
Yeah. Couple other things. We met with two different suppliers for apparatus for the building of the new rescue truck. We met with Rosenbauer last week and Marion fire apparatus the week before. We just got the specs back from Marion. We'll wait to see the specs back from Rosenbauer, and then we'll do the final details on that. And then one last thing is we have one new member who's actually signed up for the firefighter boot camp program that starts at the end of this month in East Fishkill. It's a very vigorous, advanced program. They do it during the day. She was able to do it. She's very diehard, very gung-ho for it. We got her into the class, and she's looking forward to it.
Wow, that's great. Good for her.
So, and she wants to be fully interior, so that's what the program would do.
Nice. All right, good. The 5 trees and wires, was that just that storm?
That was that storm.
Okay.
We had the ones up on 44 by the town pool.
Yeah.
We had.
I know you're on 9 partners. I was actually trying to get down there. You guys were ahead of me.
It was actually 2 different storms though, because we had the one on 44 by the town pool.
Oh yeah, that's
It was
right.
the next day, then 2 days later, the storms rolled through. I left. There was a couple of things down the village. We cleared it out of the way. There was a couple of trees up on 44, right, 343, just above 9 partners.
Okay.
I'm clearing those, and we got the call for 9 partners for the village cop. I was right there. I had to start the truck, turn around. My daughter was right with me. We cleared the tree, got it out of the way, and I think we had 1 or 2 that night, and that was about it.
Wow.
You know, we've been pretty lucky with the storm, so.
A
Yeah.
lot of trees that went down. Okay. All right. Any questions for Kevin for the report? What's the status of the grant you guys received from the county?
Actually, Dominic wanted me to bring up that he's been in contact with the county about the grant and that we plan on moving forward very soon. We've been in contact with Deidre about possibly getting a extension for it.
Good idea. All right. As I recall, the money is supposed to be used by October,
September.
September. No, it's even worse. Okay. All right, so that's a good first thing, is to go after.
When we were first into it the first year, nothing was done. And she knows that the ball was dropped.
Uh-huh.
And then when Dominic took over, Dominic, Kevin, and myself, we've been moving forward with it, trying to get things ready. I talked to Deidre last year about looking into getting an extension. She says just get all the paperwork in line and I'll talk to some people.
All right, good.
I talked to Deidre a week and a half ago about this issue, and she actually put me in touch with the person who's in charge of it at the county. Also forwarded Dominic's email to it. I believe Dominic called the guy about it. Basically, they're saying as long as you have something saying that you have progress going forward, you shouldn't have any problem getting an extension. And we do, because I reached out to 4 or 5 different lead and asbestos companies out there that take care of it, testing, removal of it, because we're going to have to do that for that building up there before we do anything else.
Yeah, this is where they're going to take down that house that's in front of the town dump, and then put up a fire
Training facility.
facility. Yeah, sounds really a great idea. Great place for it too.
Yeah.
And the town will appreciate you getting that house.
Not only that, but it's a prime location. You figure it's in Sarah Dutchess County. We could open it up to all the other mutual aid departments around us once we have it there. You know.
All right.
And who knows how long the county training center is going to be down for? And that's down right now. You can't do live fire up there.
Oh, I didn't know that. Why is that?
It's a super site.
Oh, Jesus.
And it's classified as a super site. And the other thing is the fire buildings are tearing them down. They're unsafe. So they're tearing them down, and apparently there was some grant that they got or some money that they got, and they're rebuilding them, but who knows, they said it's going to be done by September, and everybody's like, you haven't even knocked the old one down yet. What's going on here? So.
Wow, okay, that's good to know. Other question I had for Don was the parade of lights. I'd asked if you could bring up with this board whether the fire department can take over the parade of lights.
Yeah, after the day after the meeting, we realized that we didn't bring it up.
Okay.
If there's another person...
Is it of interest to the fire department to take this over or not?
Not really.
Yeah.
Just with the liability.
Liability you're covered by the village. That's not a problem.
But we do so much other stuff through the course of the year to bring on another event.
Yeah, it's a tough time of the year. All right. Can you at least ask your members if anyone's interested?
Yep, we don't have a meeting until September.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
We don't have an August meeting.
Any ideas from the board about the parade of lights? We're looking for a focal point coordinator.
Yeah, someone who's
Able to pull together a team of about a dozen people to make this thing happen.
good at coordinating.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's plenty of people that are willing to help out
Yeah,
when it comes
Yeah.
running it.
to lead. Maybe we want to put something on the village website
Yeah, we'll do
now,
that. Okay,
just
we'll do
to
that. I'll
see
do
if
that.
there's some interest out there.
Yeah.
We did put in
Yeah.
the insert,
You did what?
the insert that's going out.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Asking for a volunteer to, oh, good. All right. And we'll put on the website too, that's something. Okay, Matt, anything you got to cover?
We're gonna,
You're all set for the
we're working on
block
it.
party? Starts tomorrow, I gotta make sure, because that's the only day I can make it, so I'll make sure I get there.
I got your deputy mayor riding. He doesn't like it, but he's riding.
He's riding?
He's walking.
Oh, wow. I'm a man of the people, I thought.
Well, we can have
I walk with them.
former, you gotta fill the car.
Oh, boy.
Let me just tell you something, Mayor. The car has no air conditioning.
Yeah.
Okay? It blows hot air. It blows hot air
Yeah,
the
be
entire
cool
time,
walking.
okay? You definitely be cool to walk. If you bring it up, I'd recommend it, anyway. Okay, so all set for the block party? Okay, good. You guys got it all set up all next time. Okay, any more questions for the fire and rescue team? I'll just let y'all know, I talked to Ed Murray and Mark Brown at NDP, and they said they would send me a preliminary contract for, I asked for the next 5 years. Given that our contract with them expires on May 31st of 2025. So I wanted to get ahead of this curve and get it on the table, just what is their requirement going to be for extending the contract. So as soon as I find that out, I'll let you guys know, and I also want to be meeting with the town of Washington, since this is a big hit for their budget as well. So, FYI, this is a work in progress.
Just quick question
Yeah.
for the parade, for the block party. I assume we're meeting at the top of the avenue up here, so what time do you want the marchers to be assembled?
Good question.
5:30, and the escort division is going to be in the entrance off of Franklin Avenue in the Thorn Building.
She's on the same page with that last time. All right. Okay, let's move on. Chief Dworkin.
Thank you guys.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, trustees. So I changed the format for July, so you have a little bit more detail about what type of calls the officers are responding to and how their response affects the residents. So we responded to a total of 50 calls for service for June, 2 burglar alarms, both of them really just false alarms, one at the Alden Elementary School and one at Barbaro Millbrook Restaurant, which actually I handled myself. 2 activated fire alarms. One was both false alarms, workers in the building and low battery detected. 1 animal complaint, which was a barking dog. 4 assist citizens, request for assisting retrieving property from a family member. 1 was a juvenile riding an electric scooter at the apartment complex. 1 was a request for assisting moving vehicle from a parking lot. And a fraud investigation, which I'll talk about a little bit more later. 1 assist other agency, which is court security detail. I may end up changing that classification so it's a little bit more clear as to, it's not really assist another agency as much as it is security for the court. 1 temporary order of protection was served. 6 EMS calls. Most of these are just general EMS assists. Nothing. There's nothing really unusual there. 10 foot patrol. 1 motor vehicle lockout. 1 motor vehicle accident. 1 noise complaint. Reported loud music. 3 records requests. 2 parking summons. 2 property checks. Public safety, 1 public safety check, officers assisted the fire department removing a downed tree, 1 repossession of a motor vehicle, 14 school checks, 1 suspicious person, and that was a subject who went to the Washington Town Hall and was, I'm sure everybody's familiar with this, they go into these public locations and film to try and draw the attraction of the police department and other members. Really nothing, no issues. Our officer responded, spoke with the subject, went very well. Sometimes they just try to get a rise out of the officer to try and improve draw more attention to their YouTube channel or whatever social media they're releasing these on. So that worked out very well. Our officers are more familiar with this subject, so we don't anticipate this becoming a problem in the future. 2 vehicle and traffic tickets issued. For investigations, for June, we handled 1 criminal mischief, the windows that were broken at a condo. That was the end result of a domestic incident, which is the next incident you're looking at. Domestic incident 19084, mother son domestic, officers responded. The initial report was very serious. That culminated in vandalism to a separate property owner's property. Both of these were handled, or I should say, our officer responded and was involved in both of these. We investigated the domestic, the state police came and assisted with the domestic, they ended up handling the criminal mischief. And we had an uninvolved domestic incident on the 24th, just a verbal domestic. The officers had assisted the victim with a lethality assessment screening. We had a fraud case on June 17th, female reports a financial scam. Our officers responded, but it was ultimately handled by the state police. A medicine case at one of the local restaurants. Our officer responded to the preliminary investigation, but ultimately that was handled by the state police. So this doesn't encompass all of the investigations the officers handle. Some of them are still pending, so I can't do a public release on those yet, but you will see them as they come to a close. In development, so before I go any further, let me just ask you this. I just want to pause and give the board an opportunity to ask any questions or ask for clarification on anything.
Yeah, the individual who was filming, that was at the firehouse during the voting day, right?
There were multiple. One was
really?
there, and then there was another one at the Washington Town Hall.
Same person?
Same person.
Oh, okay. All right. Interesting.
Chief, was that person here earlier this year or late last year? Is it the same guy?
I think, it's the same guy in those two incidences. I think he's a local guy, and he tries to make his way around, and he's really harmless. He's just trying to get attention. But the officers who responded handled this very professionally. Talked with him. He didn't get the rise out of him that he had hoped to, so it was smooth, and then he just moved on, and everything went well. So I think that's what we can anticipate in the future.
Question about the report of juvenile riding electric scooter at the apartment complex. Is that investigation completed and the scooter confiscated, or is it still ongoing?
I can look into that for you. I don't have those details with me today, but I can look into that and give you a follow-up.
Yes, because I was going to report that same guy was the same juvenile going up and down A Avenue with easily 10 to 15 miles above the speed limit, usually between 3:30 and 4:30. So I think it's done intentionally because that's the time that something we have transition here usually. So you're aware of that. That's why I'm seeing it more frequent. I would just wanted to make note of that so we can, it's the same person getting taken care of.
Sure, maybe you and I can meet one-on-one later and discuss it and get more details on that. So we can make sure that we do proper follow-up.
Right.
Let's see.
How was staffing in June in terms of shifts?
Very short. So right now, we're really operating with 2 patrol officers and myself, Sergeant Witt and Officer Norton. We have 2 officers who are right now unavailable, and 1 officer who is somewhat unavailable. I'd really rather talk about that later.
So I asked you
Executive
for the executive session
Perfect.
for a discussion about some of the details there.
Sounds good.
So I appreciate you holding it off till then.
I do have some ideas on how we can remedy that.
Great. Thanks, Chief.
Sure.
And this, just,
But, yeah, off topic, this is a great.
yeah, this is great. This is awesome.
This is
So this is
awesome. I
super
love seeing
helpful for
this,
us.
yeah.
Thank
Now I
you
know
so
what's
much.
going on a little bit more.
I think it's important for the board and the residents who watch this to be able to see the good work that the officers do and how busy we are and have an idea of what's happening and not be like, well, we have a police force, but what do we get out of it? It's important for everyone to know, what we do on a daily basis.
Good.
So in development,
What's the next page?
yep,
Okay.
we have, these are just some of the programs and things that I'm seeing as I'm looking around the department and making evaluations and assessments of how our operations are, how efficient our operations are, and where we need to make improvements so we can better serve the residents. And right now, we have a records management system, and that's our data, that's the police database, where all of our reports go in, all the people that we deal with, every piece of information that we take in goes into our RMS. The RMS that we have is somewhat antiquated. It's still being kept up by the state police. It's a state police run program. But the state police themselves are moving away from that to another program. So I think that one of the most important things for me is looking at this, and we need to really have an all-encompassing system that runs efficiently and is progressive enough to capture the information that we need, but also be able to extract proper information for reports and just to make it simpler for the officers on the road. And I'll talk about that more in a minute, but I just want to touch on some of these other things. I came across the fact that we only have 1 computer in the department, and that computer is our only workable computer, and it's our only storage base for all of our records, and that's a serious problem. So if that computer crashes, we lose all of our historical data. So working with Sarah and Nicole, I ordered a 2 terabyte solid state drive. We're going to use that as an external hard drive to dump all of our archive data into. So if the computer does crash, we'll still have our backup stored on a separate drive, and we'll be able to recover everything. I haven't had an opportunity to install that yet, but we did come in the other day, and we're getting there. That's not the best remedy for this. The police department should have a server, a standalone server that houses all of our information, and that should have its own backup system. But that's a pretty large project, and again, I'll touch on that also. Installation of RMS on mobile computers. Right now we have 2 mobile computers in our 2 patrol cars. They're really, right now, they haven't been used in the 2 years that we've owned them. So I contacted, they're created by a company called Patrol PC out of Massachusetts. I contacted the rep, he came down, he did an assessment of the 2 computers, looked at some of the software is outdated because it's the original from 2 years ago. What I'd like to do is send those 2 computers to the manufacturer, have them update the software, and there's some hardware that's missing also that needs to be installed. And that way, what I'll do is we'll install our RMS, ticketing and accident software, and everything else that the officers need on the road, so they can be completely independent and complete all their operations in the field while they're in a patrol car. They don't have to come back to headquarters. So every time they take a report right now, whether it's a barking dog or an investigation, they have to collect all their data and then come back to the PD. So when that happens, now they're in headquarters. We really want them on the road. We want them visible. We want them to be able to provide a faster response in emergencies, but we're losing that because they have to come into headquarters. So the goal is to get these mobile computers up and running. Officers can park someplace safe, do their reports, and if a call comes in, they can respond immediately to stow the vehicle. That's going to take a little bit of time, but I think we'll get there in the coming months. This isn't a long, drawn-out issue. It's just something that has to be taken care of. So if you look at the next one, tracks traffic and criminal software, that needs to be installed on the mobile computer so the officers can write digital tickets in the field and write digital accident reports. All of that then gets disseminated to several different agencies, DMV, DOT, courts, and it's a very efficient system that comes from the state. We're just not using it properly because our mobile computers aren't up and running. But once we get all of that put together, it's a really well-developed system that works, make us more efficient in our operations. Development of Gall's online account. I'm working with Gall's, who's like the #1 uniform company probably across the country. And I was able to get them to put us on the Albany contract. Everybody's familiar with New York State contract. It's a better rate than we can get from just about most vendors. The Albany contract is a better rate than the New York State contract rate, so we'll be able to buy uniforms and equipment at a much better price than we could from brick and mortar operation. And I think ultimately that's where there'll be a lot of savings there in the future. They can embroider patches, they can grade our patches, they can embroider some stuff on the uniform. It's all at a much lower price than we find any place locally. So I'm working with the Gall's rep now to recreate our patches and shields and things like that. So we'll have our own account and everything will go through an online company.
So Chief, go back to the RMS system and tracks. Are you able to do all this yourself, or do you need outside vendor? Like we use NetFX for a lot of our IS work. Do you need some company like that, or?
So for some of it, we have to set up a VPN that will go from our in-house computer to the mobile units. But once the VPN is set up, then I can work with the state to download or to load the SJS, the RMS, onto our mobile computers. That's just my time and their time, and they don't charge us because it comes from the state police. The tracks is the same way. I can assist them remotely to download all the software that I'm working on now but it's a little bit It's a little bit involved because we don't necessarily have our own standalone tracks program yet, so we have to get some approvals from the state. So it's gonna take a little bit of time, but yeah, most of it I can do in coordination with the state.
All right, so just make sure you let us know if there's things you need, if there's expertise somewhere else that we need to bring to bear. It's really important for us to make this thing work.
The cost of IT, and I'm pretty familiar with most of this stuff, the cost of IT is so high that I don't want to burden our budget with that. I think most of it I can do in cooperation with the state agencies, and it'll save a lot of time and money that we can use elsewhere.
All right.
So to create the VPN, we will need the IT company.
Okay, good.
I did reach out to them to see what their hourly rate is. The one that the village is currently using. I'm waiting for a quote from another vendor from the area to compare. I think if they're a little bit lower, we may be able to make some savings there. If the village board isn't against us going to another vendor where we can save some, then that might be an option. I just want to wait and see until both of the quotes come in.
I'm okay if it ends up being standalone. If it's not something that requires like updates, amendments, or whatever, I prefer we went through net effects. So that it's your call based on what are the expected future requirements.
Sure.
All right.
Understood.
Okay.
Okay, so moving on to grants.
I have a question on tracks, Chief.
Sure.
Part of this discussion absolutely predates you. I feel like we've been talking about this for quite some time. So as of right now, can the officers write mobile tickets
No.
in any of the cars?
The computer.
I thought this was solved like last year, so it's beyond me that we're still.
Or we installed in one car is what I was under the impression.
The computers that are installed are, they technically work as a computer, but they have no software installed in them that runs these programs. So that's going to be the hurdle, is to get that stuff installed. I've already been in touch with state ITS for the SJS installation of the records management system. They've been great, more than happy to help us download it, but we just have to get that VPN established. Same with tracks, that's going to run through the VPN also. So once we get that done, that'll take care of both of those. And then we'll have the tracks, which is a separate part of the state police of their ITS division, to help us install tracks. And they're a little bit tough because they're very short-staffed. So I've reached out to the contact I have in the tracks division, and I just had difficulty getting in touch with her. We'll get there. It's just going to take a little bit of time.
The VPN requirement, is that like a security thing? Is that why?
It's a secure virtual network line that'll go from the cars back, so nobody else can hack it.
And that's like industry standard, I assume.
Individuals can use VPNs still.
Right.
Yeah, you sign up.
It's not a dent.
Well, thank you for that explanation. I
Sure.
appreciate it.
Absolutely. Moving on to grants, we have the law enforcement technology grant. To my understanding, and I haven't seen a lot of documentation on this, but it looks like that was submitted by then Officer Culhane, who's no longer with us, but he did submit the grant. We just received a check the other day for $129,000 from the state. And this is kind of where I was going previously, is I want to use that grant to purchase a server, to pay for IT, to pay for everything we need to do to get a police department server, a new records management system, VPN installed in the cars, update the mobile computers, and do all of this technology that we need to really develop and build our department infrastructure. And I don't even think we'll use all of that, and then we'll have to just make an assessment of what other needs we have for the department to determine where the rest of the funding will go. We'll probably eat up a good chunk of that, but I think these infrastructure needs are really what's kind of keeping us from being able to run efficiently.
It's excellent. Now, by the way, is it okay? I don't know what he used to justify, the grant, but I assume you're changing what the initial intended purpose of it, and that's okay with the grant provider.
I contacted DCJS.
Portions of DCJS, okay.
Yep, I did, and I submitted, or I spoke to them about a grant modification, and I explained to them what we wanted to use it for, and they said, yes, absolutely, all the things that you're looking to do are covered by the grant. Not a problem at all.
Okay.
So again, and that's where it says modification requested and approved for upgrade for department infrastructure, computer, and these are some of the things that I'm looking at just at the onset. Police department computer server purchased and installed. that's going to be an IT company install, so that's going to be a pretty fair expense, but it'll be covered by the grant. Review and analysis of upgrade to an advanced Department of Records Management system, which we talked about. There's several out there. There's a lot of really good ones. We have to look at different aspects of this to determine which one's best for us. Some are very good at data sharing, and that can be very important to us to be able to share data with surrounding agencies. State police are going to one. A lot of agencies in the northern part of Dutchess County use another. So we'll have to just look and see which one's going to best suit our needs for data sharing. Something that's going to be efficient, but easy for the officers to use. Some of these could be a real hurdle with the learning curve, and I'm trying to stay away from that. I want something kind of simplistic but very efficient. Purchase of an ALPR, an automated license plate reader. That can be really beneficial in a lot of ways. One, we can, if there's a missing person or a local crime that occurs, where a vehicle is identified and a registration is published, we can enter that into our ALPRs, and if an officer passes that car, it'll give us a hit, so we can then try and apprehend the person that's involved. It also allows us to detect suspended stolen vehicles, expired registrations, and some other things, which can be a really good training tool for our officers. If we, officers who aren't familiar with really doing a good arrest process, those are simple arrests, but it runs them through the whole procedure. It gets people off the roads who don't have insurance or driving illegally, but it's a good tool, good training tool for our officers, so that when they have something more serious like an assault or a larceny or something like that, it prepares them for properly submitting documentation to the court and prosecutor's office. So we have less issues there. We can, prosecute, have cases properly prosecuted. Upgrade of department radio communications. Some of our portable and mobile computers really need to be evaluated by our vendor to determine how outdated they are. I listen to the radio, I hear a lot of static. That's a problem. If we get an officer inside a building or somewhere where communications are bad and he's in a situation where he needs help and he can't get it because radio transmissions are bad, that's a really serious concern. So I want to look at that, do an evaluation of radio communications and see if we need to upgrade those. Again, something covered by the grant. Upgrade to our existing mobile computers, which I just talked about earlier. The UAV, the unmanned aerial vehicle, that was part of the grant. I removed, that took a huge chunk out of the grant, about 50%. And I don't know that that's really necessary here. If we need a UAV, then we can contact the sheriff's office or the state police. They're more than willing to come out. They do it all the time. They're experts in it, and that's really what we want. As often as we would use it, those skills are perishable, and I think we're better off going to a larger agency, working in cooperation with them. So the next one is the PPE, the police protective equipment.
All right, so the first, that grade up there, that's $129,000.
And we've just received the money, so we're ready to roll with that.
Yep.
The PPE, the Police Protective Equipment Grant, which was submitted by Trustee Contino and Sergeant Witt. I was very, very kind that Trustee Contino involved me in the email thread, just so I could see where we are. It looks like that's at a point now where we're really just about ready to place the order. Does that sound accurate?
And I saw your response. It was very good in keeping the ball rolling forward. If we're lucky enough to work with Catherine on the bigger grant, I think she's been fantastic.
Oh, good.
That's
So gotta use the full $10,000 that grant was worth. Okay, good. All right.
That grant will provide ballistic protective helmets, protective body armor, and ballistic shields to the officers in case of an active shooter or some kind of critical incident where the officers have to go in. We know there's an armed subject. It affords them the ballistic protection that they need to get in there and do the job as safely as possible. Live scan grant. So the mayor and I talked about this, and I understand that this is an issue as far as when the police officers process people who are arrested. Right now, the way the process is, they bring them in here, they process them in our records management system, then they transport them to the state police barracks for fingerprints and photographs, then they bring them back here for either release on an appearance ticket or for an arraignment before the court. We probably couldn't make that any more difficult. So my goal is to have all of that housed inside the police department. Officers bring, and it's not as safe to be transporting a defendant who may or may not be cooperative. Places the officers in a difficult situation, it places more liability on the village because we're transporting somebody who may not be cooperative. So the idea is to, after they're arrested, bring them in here, process and release them from here. Simple, much more efficient, and what I did is I requested I submitted a funding proposal to DCJS, which is about a $14,000 grant for a live scan machine. I think we're going to get that. I don't think that's going to be much of an issue. Again, the grant should cover the cost of the equipment and the IT to install it. It's not a big IT hurdle to get over. I can work with the live scan company to install most of the equipment. Maybe some issues IT will come in and assist with, but that should all be covered by the grant. I didn't actually submit the grant yet, but I submitted the state requires that you submit a proposal, so it's kind of like a request, hey, we need money for this, and can you help us out? And so that's where we are with that. It covers everything I wanted to talk about, except for maybe some issues we can talk about later in executive session.
Executive session, yeah, we should just take it on for that. It's a very thorough, impressive report.
Yes, excellent, thank you.
Any questions from the trustees?
No.
All right.
The only other thing maybe is scheduling. I know that was a concern of the boards, so I did make some changes to the way we do scheduling.
We'll talk about that in executive session as well.
That works.
We'll do that? Sure. I appreciate holding on that. Okay. Any other questions for the chief? Okay, thanks. Let's move on. Next, Public Works. I'll give this report. First off, congrats to Bob, 19 years, he's out. He promised he was going to come to the first meeting. Where is it? Can you call him and see if he's here? Okay.
Probably in the city.
That's right. Are the Yankees playing tonight? I'm going to the Yankees playing tonight. All right, so just to notice that we, as part of the budget process, we reduced the summer pickups from 3 to 1. So the next brush pickup, other than storm related, is going to be September 9th. There aren't going to be any other brush pickups between now and leaf pickup. The roll and stone of Maple is still scheduled for the end of August. We have the dump truck ready to go out for auction. I contacted AAR and they're yet to come and make an appointment to come take pictures.
Did they take pics of the chief's truck, the old pickup?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did. Yeah, put it online. Yeah. Some of the things that the highway guys did, they went and put in, I guess they added it to the ramp down there at the water plant.
Yeah, I have it in my report.
Oh, you do? Okay, fine. Nice thing here is that, one, we get to item 4 free from the town. 2, our backhoe was in repair shop, getting $3,600 worth of work done to it. And so we were able to borrow the town's payloader to do that job. Just an example of how often we use the town, work with the town both ways. It's reciprocal help we do provide to them too. But the town's a very valuable member of our DPW group. Storm damage started on June 26th that night. They're still working on storm pickup even today. However, I'm going to put this in the newsletter. There's incidents of residents putting out non-storm related yard clearing. And so I told them next time they see somebody who's doing such, I'm going to go knock on the door and explain to them that we're not picking up those kind of piles. People just clear out those when they know that there's a storm. What we're going to do is we're going to notify them that's a violation, and we're going to out of them pick it up and have them bill us. We'll bill the resident for that work. It's only like, I'm going to say less than 5 people, but I found out about this by just talking to them, and they admitted that there were some people they picked up 3 or 4 times. And they know it's not just storm damage. So that's got to stop. So we're going to notify the residents that that's not allowed, that's not in the category of reasons why we're doing storm pickup, and we're going to start billing residents when they continue to abuse the process. When the storm occurred, we also had to go and clear all the catch basins to start part of the process. Now, we've identified out on the limb a variety of trees to be removed as well as trimmed. And I think, Mike, I got the final word from your committee that we're going to take down the tree that's on Franklin that got cut in half by the storm.
Correct.
The tree that's in front of the bookstore that's dead as a doornail. But the tree at the firehouse, we're going to have them go and just trim and wire up, right?
That's my recommendation at this point.
Is that the shade tree committees?
Yes,
Okay.
when I spoke to the shade tree members the last couple of days, I mentioned the tree and said they should go look at it. But we've already had 2 evaluations, one by a certified arborist from out on a limb, and another one from Brad Roller, and he's got a 3rd one that he's getting from somebody who is in the business of working with dangerous trees, and he works with all the time. I'm waiting for his evaluation, but.
So my question to you is, do I tell Alan to come and save the tree? You know, trim it and wire it up, or do I wait? Because I want to do that and then have to say that it's all rotted, so take it down.
Well, let me make a call to Brad, because
Okay, fine.
We spoke last week, and he was supposed to get back to me after the gentleman got a chance to look at the tree.
All right, so I'm waiting to hear from you before I contact Matt and give me where to go.
Yeah.
All right, fine. They purchased a chainsaw, the one that they had didn't do well during the storm, and so we had budgeted that already in the budget process, so they went out and I bought that. That's something for the non-expenses you'll see in the invoices. We'll notify the town to order the stone for the oil and stone process. 190 tons is what they've ordered. Next item is Washington Avenue. I sent you all an email. The fact is, we've agreed now we want to pave Washington Avenue next. Before we do, we need to replace the storm drains. And we were talking about going through the process of replacing the storm drains this year and coming back and doing the paving next year, getting enough CHIPS money to do that this year. My thought to you was, why not wait to do both next year? We'll have enough CHIPS money to do it at the same time. Is it worth doing that? And oh, by the way, even though we went out for a quote to do the replacement of the storm drain, the cost is over $35,000, so we're going to go through our competitive bidding process anyway. So we have to restart anyway. So what do y'all think about holding off until next year to do both, or doing the storm drains now and the paving next year?
How much of a duplication of effort are we going to go through if we do the storm drains and then put filler back to repair the road so it's navigable for a whole year?
How's it going to look? So the question to you, I guess.
It'll just be a blacktop patch. It'll be run along the whole side of the road from the top of church to the bottom up front. So, I mean, you could do it. Do with CHIPS money, which would be nice, you know. But,
Yeah. So we can do the replacement of the storm drain this year.
you could, yes, yes.
So my question to you is, do you want to do that now this year? Or
I
wait till
almost
next
think
year
we
and do it?
should. It'll be a press for time to get all
Fine.
that done next year, almost.
Okay.
And then not only that, I believe that Lee Wood needs to still tie into
Yeah.
to water and sewer. So if you get the
Okay.
new storm drains, then you can maybe avoid that somehow, or get under them, or come up
Okay,
with a plan
fine.
himself too. I think we should just tackle it
Okay.
if we can.
Any pros or cons from you, Scott?
Not only that, but if you're doing all that, you're gonna end up with settling. So you get it a whole year.
A year. It's
Well,
better
settling.
for paving in the future.
Well,
Because
I've seen it done on roads in my neighborhood, and they'll do it, and then the next year, all these dips.
Yeah.
Okay.
The more you use it, and the more you ride on item 4, it passes. You know, you
All right.
can add item 4 back
Until
until
stuff to do on that road that I'm planning on, I had budgeted for this year.
All right, fine. So if there's no disagreements then, so I'll work with Sarah on putting together the, to go out for competitive bid. Which is a notification. Do you have enough information based on what we did before, what Tim Race has already provided? Or do we need to, let's do that, let's do what we have, let's run by W. Mayor and make sure we've got our I's and cross the T's, and that's what we're asking for.
Yeah,
And then we'll submit it out.
I would like to take a look at that bid again too, to just see what we can compare apples to apples with other companies too. You know, just everybody.
Yeah,
It's fair.
absolutely.
It's gotta be competitive bid.
Okay, fine. So we'll go through that process then. Okay, next. I don't know if y'all all know, but the chief painted his office, we put a new carpet in. He's, what else have we done here? He put in a new printer, we got a new computer. He himself bought a desk, and he and his son hauled it up the stairs. I wish I had pictures of that, but anyway. So he's got a new desk. So you all should go up and take a look at it sometime. It's the office used to be the police closet, in the old days, and he's basically retrofitted that into his own office, separate from the other end of the hall where the patrol officers hang out when they're doing their reports. So good job there. What else did the highway guys do? Pothole patching, significantly on Washington and Franklin. They put cold patch on the front of the new walkway entrance up to the end of Maple. They also put on that the crosswalk. What do you think about that?
I didn't see it yet, but I will check it out. Thank you.
Okay. So I asked the sidewalk grinders if they could grind that concrete. They said they don't do that.
Yeah.
So what Jeff suggested is that let's put cold patch there. I'm worried about how sturdy it will be, how well it will dry out and firm up. Anything we can do to make that happen? Or?
Where's this program?
This is number 13.
A lot of people take like baby strollers and things down Franklin to go to Trustee Gardens, Patrick.
Yeah.
And
That crosswalk that's
it's a crosswalk,
active.
but you gotta go off the curb.
Yeah.
So they made it a little, kind of like a little ramp.
Cold patch doesn't really hold up well.
Was that?
The cold patch doesn't really hold up well for anything.
No,
That'd be no last a little bit, but you're replacing it every winter, every year.
that's true.
Yeah.
I think one swipe of a snowplow will take
It's
care
gonna
of
rip
it.
it right out. It's immediate.
Well, we go take a look at that and make
I'll
a
take it.
recommendation of what we do.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
I think it's technically on our street, so we don't have to worry about the DOT.
Okay.
We have some better idea.
Yeah.
Because I was hoping that the grinding guys could make us a little swat there.
Yeah.
The alternative would be to take that pad out and replace it.
Yeah.
Okay, I appreciate your input on that. Trustee Dro requested a sign, no parking sign be put at the corner of Merritt and Church on Merritt, because even though it's painted orange, a lot of people park there, they're rushing to the DMV, and by the time we go down there, just tell them, get out of there, they're gone.
I saw cars there today. Every single day I see the car
You
there.
with the sign?
I think the sign's
The
there.
sign's there.
Oh, yeah.
What does that look like?
It's, no, it's on the
other
air,
side.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
right there at the corner by the parking lot. The sign is there.
Oh,
But by the
I
way,
missed
we
that
have to
too.
put the sign in the VTL. Otherwise, Ian won't let us
Yeah.
put any tickets in.
Okay.
So that's on my list of things we're doing updates to the code. Let's see.
There was no parking already.
I know. Well, that's true. You're right, because it's got the yellow. Hey, Chief, what's the story there? So, isn't there a state law that you can't park within 25 feet of a corner?
Yes,
Okay,
I think
fine.
it's 50, but yeah,
50?
it might be 50, yeah.
Oh, okay, because that's why they paint those curbs yellow around those corners and by the fire plug, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, because it disturbs visibility.
Yeah. All right, so can you take a look? Have you guys focus on that?
Absolutely.
Because Trustee Darrow is on my tail about it. And I went to have you guys put in a no parking sign to no avail, I guess.
That's at the intersection of.
It's on the street out here
Okay,
at the corner of Church.
gotcha.
All right? And it's on the far corner, right where the parking lot is. And as you said, the rationale is you just have to drop off at the DMV, they pull there, park, run in, run out, they're gone. But it's-
But nothing in the DMV is quick, so they're not just.
Well, that's true,
They're not
too.
running in.
That's
It's like
true.
a,
But it's a safety hazard for people trying to get around
Yeah,
the
it's
corner.
Sure.
to your
That's
point,
what's a
the
problem.
visibility is tough
Yeah.
when someone's parked there.
There you go.
You take care of that.
Okay. Number 15, we had a request to clear the brush and vines along the Devine Road. And Mike, you've got to follow up on that. We've got the DEC coming to see what we can and can't do along that shoreline of the pond.
Yeah, well, in 2013 and 2015, I had a project there working with the Department of Conservation, with the DEC, where they gave us trees and bushes and then made it a regulated area so that we could put in the trees and bushes. And they've come back 2 or 3 times since then to inspect it. Haven't been back since almost 2018 or so to inspect. And the woman from across the street who lives there was complaining about the fact that a number of the trees were getting totally enveloped by bittersweet and killing the trees that have been planted there. So I went down, took a look at it. We've cleared already 4 trees that are still vital and fine. There are 2 others that are absolutely, totally gobbled up. But we're hoping if we can get the vines cleared, that we can save those last 2. And I've got an appointment with the DEC rep to come out, who I've asked once already in the past to tag all the invasives with something so we can know when we're trying. It needs to be pulled out and then maintained properly. And there's a lot of dead area there because the vines have killed all of the growth. Then we'll need to replace with plants that we can apply and get a free grant from the DEC tree trips program to do that either in the fall or the spring, whenever their enrollment period is.
Could you let me know about that meeting?
Sure.
Actually, you can join me.
You can join the mayor because it's on July 24th and it's 8 o'clock in the morning, exactly the same time. I've got a medical appointment with a member of my own family, so I already asked the mayor to take over my role and normally be there. But the important thing is we need to be able to have them identify what's viable and can stay and what is not, because we're supposed to maintain it, but they don't want you going in with a weed whacker and a mower and clearing like it's a front lawn. They want to keep it as natural as possible for all the ecological system there to stay the way it's supposed to.
So we're not going to do any more clearing until we hear from the DEC, right?
Just the vines around those 2 trees.
Trees, okay, fine.
That I said I would.
Prevent them from getting killed. Okay, that's good.
Yeah, and that's it.
I just don't want to clear that area too much and have
No.
the DEC come in and say, wait a minute.
Exactly.
It's the integrity of the shoreline.
Exactly.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Okay, good. On number 16, I've been calling DOT saying that there's a lot of potholes and things on Franklin Avenue that need to be replaced. And unfortunately, a woman got out of her car down by the insurance on the north side and tripped on a pothole as she was walking from her car to the curb to the sidewalk, and didn't hurt her too much. But when I called DOT back and said, hey, by the way, someone tripped and fell, they immediately got within a week. So from now on, I'm going to figure out somebody.
You want me to fall?
Yeah, I'm actually going to fall.
I'll fall.
All right, very good. You're both
I'm gonna be a mean Peter.
And it was amazing the response I got after numerous requests that went nowhere. So they did a good job of filling the potholes. Actually did more than Bob had requested. They promised to come back and do some drag box work, because there's still a lot of, we actually need to repave it. But anyway, they promised to.
Speed request.
Okay, so I did get feedback from DOT. They've completed the analysis, they're doing the analysis. They completed the study, they're doing the analysis. They promised me by late this month or early next month. Yeah, that's the latest.
Oh my breath. Promises.
So that's the story on that. Next 2 things is, given what Simon Sully did with the walkway up there at the Maple Avenue turnaround, thank you for that, Pat. Nice job coordinating that.
Yeah.
I identified them working with Jeff and Darren, 14 slabs throughout the village on various streets. Merritt, there's one that fell apart right here at the corner by, actually it's on Elm, right by the corner of Merritt. There's one at the bottom of Merritt where you guys lifted up a pad and put it back and promised that we would take care of it. Oh, no, that one we're going to grind, I'm sorry. The one we're replacing is at the top of the hill. There's pads. There's pads on Franklin, both up from my house and down in front of the dentist's office. That's the guy that we promised last year we were going to replace that pad. And there's 2 pads on Church I talked about by that fire plug that we decided we wanted to. So Simon Sully came back with a quote of $53.30 to do that work. And I'd like the board to approve that request. Before you do anything, let me move on to the last item, which is a budget item. I had Precision Safe Sidewalks come and do an estimate of completing the work that was quoted from when they were here in 2022. What happened was Bob had given them a path of work to do up and down Franklin, not the area we're doing the replacement of the sidewalks, as well as some areas throughout the village. They ended up spending more time on Anson and somewhere else, somewhere down that way than they had budgeted for. So they only did part of Franklin. Asked them to come back and finish that job, as well as identify other areas in the village, including on Merritt, we just talked about, on Friendly, where a woman tripped and fell a year and a half ago. We never fixed that. It's where the tree is lifted the concrete. To replace the pad doesn't make sense because it's just going to look again. So we're going to grind that down. And what else? A couple other places throughout the village. So that quote is for $10,591. When I send that out to you, I'd like to use the $10,000 in the sidewalk line for budgets to do this grinding. Any questions or comments about that? Okay. So this is the budget. I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Now, next, we'll go back to number 17. I'd like the board's approval to spend $53.30 to replace 14 pads, which can't be ground and ought to be replaced in the village. I actually like the board to approve that. And once we get that done, to go back and look at another set of 14 pads or so.
Yeah.
Because there's more out there. So what about that? This would be actually an out of budget thing. You could use the H&L grant money to cover it from a budget point of view. I think it'd be a good use of the money. Thoughts?
Is that a good deal, Patrick?
Yeah, no,
It seems
that's
really
excellent.
reasonable.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Seems
That's
almost impossible.
Think about how nice that is. You got a $10,000 quote for about the same amount of grinding as you have a $5,000 quote for 14 brand new
That
pads.
includes the concrete?
Yep,
Yes.
keep that going.
Okay.
Keep him on speed dial.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah. The concrete is
He's
$4,000.
he's very reasonable and he's quick. It's good.
So okay, I got a motion to accept the quote from Sidewalk to do the replacement of these 14 pads.
I'll make that motion.
And a second?
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, good, thanks, I'll get that going. And I will proceed with the precision safe sidewalks grinding. All right? Okay, any questions for Bob? All right.
Good picture.
Yeah.
Looks relaxed already.
Okay, Scott.
All right. So for
He does
June, all sampling and maintenance was completed. We read all the water meters. The bill should be going out this week. And as previously mentioned, the highway department was at the water plant helping me out. They pulled the beams from the stream where you crossed to access the wells on the opposite side of the stream. They fell in or just brought the series.
I did it once.
Patrick and his father replaced them for me 2 years ago.
I remember that, yeah, okay.
They fell back in. The
They're
banks.
just laying on the ground, right?
They're just laying
Yeah,
on
okay.
Yeah, the banks were just eroding away with all the storms and all the water. So I had the guys pull them out of there because they were creating a dam.
Yeah, okay.
So
So
now
how
we
do
can't,
you get across the river?
high boots at this point.
Oh,
But
sorry.
at some point we're gonna have to figure out what to do there. I don't have anything in the budget, so
All right.
we'll need to access that vehicle. Sorry. What's that?
With a vehicle, you need to get a vehicle?
No, I just need foot traffic. I've always just gone over there. You need access so you can maintain them.
Oh, I thought you drove, like you, what about your
No,
car?
I just walked across them with a
So you
weed
don't cut the
whacker
grass or
and took
anything?
care of
Oh, you
it.
weed whack, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So if it ever dries out enough, I can walk through with high boots and do it. But
Be wet back there.
yeah, because at this point the banks have eroded so much that I don't even know if the beams will span. 'Cause
Because we moved it once.
yeah,
To the shorter section of the street.
Yeah, we got it over there, but it just, when those storms come up, the stream just overflows. It just rips down through there and cuts that bank out. And then that's why, and then over the winter, they just kept going. Eventually, they just were in the water.
How'd they pull them out?
With the hand.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah,
All right.
so they did that for me, to prevent any further damming of the stream.
Good.
And they also fixed the loading dock. We had, over the last several winters since we put the water plant there, all the plowing has taken some of the stone away, so we had delivery, I think back in May, where the truck could not access the loading dock. It was actually several inches below, so we couldn't offload our chemicals.
Oh, jeez.
And they were gonna do it by hand. I said, no, I'm not that desperate for it. So then the guys went over there and raised it up. Actually had it delivered today. It was fine.
Oh, good, all right,
So it's probably something we'll have to keep an eye on.
yeah,
The chemical company gave me the height that they need, so we'll just keep an eye on that. And
all right, good.
Jeff and Darren will fix it when they're right.
It was a pretty straightforward job, have to have a day or so.
Yeah, I mean, I think they brought a load of item 4 in there to help out, and they moved a bunch of the stone around. They got it nice.
All right,
They got
good.
a job.
Good.
That's it.
Any questions about the water report? Okay. Sewer.
All right. For June, performed all sampling and maintenance, earth care haul, the dry sludge dumpster, cleaning filter beds, ongoing process. Repaired sewer lateral for the second time at 39 Merritt. This time should be final. Pulled a bunch of roots out. They're probably longer than this section.
Is that right?
Yeah. All the way down into the main. So we
Okay.
went all the way to the main this time and just
Oh.
replaced it.
Okay. Now, is $800 our half?
No, that's it because it was on our
Oh, it's
side.
on our side.
It was on the opposite
Last
side
time
of
we
the fence.
split it because it was right.
Last
on
time
the
it was right at the fence. We pulled out what we thought was,
floor. I see.
and then it just backed up on her again. So we went all the way to the main, which was about, I don't know, about 8 to 10 feet
Oh.
roughly from that fence,
All right,
which is all on our side. So we got it fixed.
all right,
We did it.
so we're done.
Should be.
Okay, good. All right,
Yeah, I worked with Slack Chemical and Time Bond to submit paperwork for our new dechlorination chemical. That's been submitted to the DEC. This part waiting to hear back.
what about the WQIP submission or proposal from TMB?
Yeah.
You said you responded back and made comments, I never saw those comments.
They're on the, I did it through the PDF. I just put in there and made comments on there.
Oh, did you see it? No, okay.
It may not.
Anything significant?
They had a couple things. They were missing some data on the overflows. I mentioned that to them. They had stated that there was 3 pumps in the pump station at the plant. There's actually only 2. There
Okay.
used to be 3. I don't know if that's significant to their report, but I just wanted them to be
Yeah,
aware
sure.
of what we're currently doing.
Okay.
And they also had that both of those tanks down there are being used for our RF,
Okay,
which
fine.
is not the case. And it's always been just the one.
Mhm.
So those were,
Okay,
there's a couple other typos that
all right, what was the net of her email today? This is Aaron Moore.
She
Yeah.
said she was setting up a meeting or something.
yeah, so
right?
our meeting that
A
we
phone call meeting?
have scheduled for next week,
Yeah.
next Tuesday, we were gonna meet in person at the sewer plant. And she now wants to do a phone meeting because they're not prepared to do an in-person meeting to discuss all the details of the upgrade
All right,
at
fine.
the sewer facilities. That was so basically she wants to do a phone meeting to go over that WQIP stuff so that they can get that.
So we can submit it, because it's due later this month.
Correct.
Okay, fine.
So-
All right,
And then she said she'll schedule a meeting in the near future, in-person meeting at the plant to go over all the details
all right, good.
as far as the planning and engineering.
All right, can you give us an update on the pump station down
Yeah.
in South Norwood?
So we have, the pump station has been set in place.
What you said, really?
I have, well, don't worry, it's on my list.
Ah,
Thank, first of all, the town of Washington Highway Department for delivering both the pump station and the generator
Yeah.
down there. And also Patrick and his father, and for help setting the ring, the riser ring, and the pump station. As well as getting Bob down there to fix the leveling issue. So when we pulled the old pump station out, and we put the ring in there, and we put a level on it, we were off by at least 3 to 4 inches
Oh, really?
out of level.
okay,
And that was the existing pump station that we
Okay.
hit. So Patrick called Bob, who was just up the road. And he came down like 2 days later.
Yeah, 2 days later, leveled
and
it up.
had it all leveled.
Huh.
So then we set the ring next week,
All right.
and then the pump station.
Bob who?
Sun Selling.
Oh,
Yeah, he's a little
Yeah.
hero.
Jeez.
Oh yeah, I mean,
all right.
it was perfect for what we needed.
Yeah.
Good.
It saved us a lot. I mean, we were fussing with it the rest of that day, and we ended up having Patrick pull it back off, but we couldn't get. We were going to try to harden it, but the gap was like this.
Wow. Okay.
So Bob had a great idea to level it up. I mean, he was done in a day, and then we just had to let it sit and cure for 4 days over a weekend. And then we went, set the ring, pump station, hooked up all the piping.
So the pump station actually is working. The new pump station is working.
Last Monday the 1st, we had rep from Smith & Lovis, which is actually Hydromatic out of New Jersey, came up, checked everything out, installed all the floats, set all the levels, tested everything out, and it's running.
All right. Good. So that's part one.
That's part one, and it's been running since then. We took the temporary pump offline to that last week. I had it set up simultaneously just in case it backed up for a few days. But as of Monday when I was there, it ran like 7.5 hours combined between two pumps.
All right. Good.
Do you like the operations of the new pump?
Yeah, it's a lot quieter.
Is that
Not
right?
that I mean, you can't hear
Yeah,
me,
okay.
but if you're standing there, it's a lot quieter.
All right.
But yeah.
And what's the outlook for the generator?
I haven't heard from the engineer.
That's a blue?
Yep,
Okay.
I met with Diageo, who came out to look at setting it, come up with a plan. I also met Joe Spag down here, popped in, hoping to do it next week.
So the town's gonna come with their equipment and they'll lift it up?
Yeah, I gotta talk to Joe and see what they have as far as chains and bars and all this other stuff that they need.
Well, Glenn said you could rent those bars.
What was that?
Glenn?
Okay, I don't know
No?
about that.
Okay.
It's stuff that I know.
Okay.
You know.
Well, I assume he's taking, last time I talked to him, he was taking care of that.
Okay. You might wanna check.
Yeah, I will. Okay. The idea is you're gonna put these, what he had a special name for, some kind of
There's
bars.
spreader bars.
Spreader bars, that's right.
Yeah, they're-
On each side of the generator, there's those hooks, right? And then strap it somehow. And then lift it up, take the pad out, and put it back down.
Yeah, I don't know if the town has straps. I know, I'll ask Jack, but I don't.
Okay.
What are you gonna lift it with?
The loader.
Loader?
Something like that.
315 probably would lift it too. Our machine right there. So
Oh, all right. Let me check with Glenn about
4
the-
points of load.
Yeah, because if they use the spreader bars, if we use chain, then we got the problem is the generators, the sheet metal that's around it's not.
Flimsy.
Yes, it's just case. It's not really structural. So if you pinch it, you're gonna damage it.
So there's no 4 points of.
There's 4 points on the outside, but you gotta get straight up, and then you
Yeah,
gotta
right.
spread that out.
Yeah, it's kind of long, right.
So that
You're
you
not
don't
crushing everything up high.
want, right.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
Alright.
so you wanna double check with Glenn
I will.
about that?
When is the delivery?
I'm sorry? Delaware.
Yes.
Delaware is still the engineering group for that
Right.
project.
Yeah, because at this point, once, I don't know where the electricians are at, but there's no permanent power. Well, right now it's the same electric that was there, all the wiring, they just hooked it up.
Yeah.
But all the new stuff's gotta be connected to the pump station.
Yeah. He says the pump was a different phase than the old pump or something? So you didn't have a converter?
Yeah, so when we did the rep came out, the electric that's feeding the pump station is 208 volt, and the pump station, and then the old pump station was 230. So, but it all checked out within specs according to the rep as far as the amperage and all that stuff, all in my head, but.
Okay.
But the generator was a question, and Glenn was working on that, because that's also 230. But he said, I think they just had to get a diversion.
Yeah, right, so, okay.
Because that was a concern, well, it runs fine on the Central Hudson power as 208, but if the generator come out, it would supply 230, not 208, so. Yeah, it's,
All right, fine. I'll find out what the status is of that. Any questions for Scott regarding the, either of those items? Okay, thanks, Scott.
Well, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, Sarah?
Okay, for building, issued 5 building permits, 1 sign permit, 1 municipal search, and 1 fire inspection that's not SDR. We collected $1,090 for June. Planning board had a meeting July 8th, but I don't know the results of that. I haven't been told yet.
Okay,
As far as short-term rentals, 3 permits have been issued. We don't have any in process right now, meaning no one's submitted any applications or anything outside of the 3. And we collected $1,400.
yeah, so, I talked to Ken today about that, so this is the Granis report that lists 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 residences in the village that are advertised on some STR site. One of them is a bed and breakfast, which I think that's separate discussion, right? But for those who haven't applied for a permit, Justin and Ken are going to send out notification letters that they're in violation of the current code. And oh, by the way, those who have current long-term renters there, who don't think they need a permit, have to still take themselves off of the listing service, because either they are listed as an STR or they have a accessory apartment for which they need a special permit. So they have to do one or the other. They can't be in the middle and not get a permit. So they're going to start sending out letters next week to these people that are on this list as having advertised on a STR service, and yet haven't come forward for a permit. And as Sarah said, the 3 who came forward have all passed and are to the book. Any other comments about that?
Just that I already put together the letter. The templates are like done on the site, so
Okay.
it should be. I'm sure Ken and Justin know that once they click whatever they have to click, Grant just takes care of those letters.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I don't think they know
I will.
What was that?
that. I don't think they know that.
Nothing, okay,
I'll talk to Ken.
thank you, appreciate that. Okay, anything else, Sarah?
That's all I have for building.
Okay, move on.
Okay. So you have the bank balances for June. As you can see, we're doing quite well in beginning of June for tax collection, and I do have an updated figure at the bottom of my report. And the tree replacement program, that's the one we just did the budget adjustment, or you guys just approved, so I'll move that money over to pay for those trees.
So basically exhausts that account.
Right, so I don't know if you guys want, I don't know if there's any reason to keep the account. Or if you want me to close
My
it.
opinion, I'm gonna just keep it in case.
I would say keep it, because if any residents wants to contribute, as they have in the past, towards planting trees, there has to be a place where it can go.
Good,
And
Alright.
as opposed to just putting it in the shade tree account, I think that would be a logical place to put it.
That's not a problem, I just figured I'd ask.
yeah, sure.
That's all I have for.
Just like to look at the H&O trust account is running at almost $18,000. There's no more billing to go against that, right? Because the sidewalk came out of True Garden, trees come out of here. So there's no other pending
Not that I'm aware of.
expenses. Okay, good. So I'm gonna talk to the board about $18,000 later on, so we'll have to wait, okay? And the tribute card donation is there at the bottom, $14,865. That's that account that you've got for miscellaneous, you've used in the past, right, for, okay,
Yeah,
all right, fine. So that stands there as well.
yeah,
Okay,
mostly like Village Hall.
right, Village Value, right,
Yeah.
fix up kind of things.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, next page.
And next page, so then we have New York class balances. With the sale of the fire department truck, we got $8,000. So I did put that in New York class, so you'll see that in the next month's
Okay.
report for that transfer. Mailed out the town SBA letter, so that's the sewer benefit assessment that's on the town.
So those are people who are outside the village that don't get a village tax, and we still charge them for the SBA.
Correct, and I did, to hopefully not have so much confusion, I did set up a sub-account under SBA's for that one. So
good.
you'll see the 61,000 that we'll get from the taxes, and then the additional 10,000 from the
Good.
town SBA. And those have been rolling in too,
Alright.
so that we're doing pretty well on that. Completed the bank recs for 23-24, so we can start the AFR. Helped the fire department with their block party. They have like a lot of documents that need to go to the state and applications. I said this earlier, but the AV equipment, I spoke to them last week and they said that the person that does the ordering or scheduling or something is out on bereavement, so they said they'd get back to me.
Okay.
Submitted the request for the Bennett pump station, so obviously it's not anything that we just got, that like, oh, you just got from Delaware,
Mhm.
but the Smith and Love. was-
Okay, this is the $250,000 grant we received from DASB
Yeah,
to cover $250 of the expected $350,000 cost for the
right,
pump station.
right, so I put request 2 in.
Okay, good.
And then I just spoke about the truck, and then I won't be here for the next page.
I guess we'll cancel the meeting.
You don't have to do that. You can have it.
We'll wait for you, it's okay.
Yeah, we'll wait,
No,
that's
I'm
right.
kidding.
Where are you gonna be? We'll show up.
Sure, no problem.
The AV equipment, so that's using FEMA money.
That would be the FEMA money.
So
Yeah.
where is that FEMA money?
That's in New York class.
Is there a separate account here? for
Yes,
FEMA?
it's in the second page. You'll see FEMA.
Oh, there's, right there. Yeah, okay.
So I just figured I'd have it sit there collecting, New York class issues.
So the audio,
COVID stuff? COVID?
Yeah.
yeah, we submitted to FEMA requests for all associated expenses we can think of, like this wall, clean materials like masks we had to buy before they actually came from the state.
Right.
There's a whole list of stuff you guys came up with.
Yeah.
Very, very net inventive. Good list.
Sarah,
And, huh?
yeah, Sarah and Nicole, I mean, they were at the front lines.
So $16,000 is what we got from them. How much is the improved audio video equipment for
I
the?
think it was like a little under 6.
6. So leaves about $10,000 left for us to decide what we want to do with it.
Right.
There's no restrictions on that money.
No,
Now
We're supposed to be
Sarah's-
reimbursement of money already spent.
correct. Yep.
All right, so that's $10,000 also on top of that.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
That's all I have.
Okay, there's the nice sidewalk. Patrick, you want to say a few words about that?
Yeah, they came out good, huh?
Sure
You
did.
want me to?
Yeah, what do you say, right?
Yeah. Have you walked on it?
Yeah, absolutely, this
Is it
morning.
solid?
It's not solid. But we had to timberers come back and put in the dirt and the seed, which by the way, the grass is all up. Have you seen it recently?
Yeah.
So it looks really good.
That's something that village guys couldn't do?
No, because it was like 2 tons of dirt or whatever. And they were right in the middle of the storm. I didn't want to wait. Because it already was washing out.
Gotcha.
So I was in a rush to get it done. So I said, we had to work on the storm cleanup. I'll get timberers to do it. So, and Tim did a nice job.
Yep.
And then of course I looked at it, he came back and did it again.
Yeah.
It was a nice cleanup.
Really nice.
So,
Don't forget
Oh,
kudos
that's
to
great.
yourself for watering that, so we now have green grass.
What's that?
I said you get kudos because you came back and had a hose attached
Yeah, I'm right, I was
to
gonna
the
spend
fire
money.
hydrant.
The grass not
And
come up.
we've been watering the grass for the
Right.
past 2 weeks,
That's right.
3 weeks, whatever, so.
So, it was a team effort, what can I say? Okay. All right. Okay, next, Mike, is the sidewalks. I'm on the streetlights, I'm sorry.
Streetlight. Just a quick background before I read the motion you asked me to bring at the last meeting. I called the representative from out from Central Hudson and asked him and told him, was ready to tell him that Brian Finn, that we were going to make the motion for the proposal tonight, and got the message that he has switched to another company as of the middle of June. So we have their proposal that I'm assuming is still good in that sense. We do have to get confirmation from Central Hudson to make sure who is the new representative we'll be working with. Once we accept the motion, then they will create a memorandum of understanding, which is similar to a contract based on exactly the specifications that we talked about, and the numbers will hopefully, unless there's a change of some kind, we will stay the same. So, do you want me to read that motion now?
Well, no, I don't want you first to decide, based on the discussions and the feedback from Heather and Doug, what is your proposal as far as the lighting?
Well, the proposal is that in the residential areas that we have LED fixtures that are 25 watt at this point, 2,900 lumen fixtures put in, and that's for the entire residential section. That's what is, I guess, standard Central Hudson puts in terms of that, and that's what I assume is going to be installed.
So have you got any feedback from Doug or Heather on this?
Well, this is the first time.
First one here, right? Okay. So
Yeah, no, I know that I got feedback from Heather and Doug, and both of them had said that they thought that the residential areas should have a softer, lighter lighting than you might have in other places, and that was also confirmed by Brian Finn, that they put in exclusively 25 watt, which is a lower grade that you might put in a commercial area, and 2,900 lumens being the brightness factor.
Mhm.
And that's what we're going with, and that's what the motion will be with, when I get it, when I read it. And Doug was in favor of it. He did note that there's different levels of light and different kinds of light throughout the building.
Right.
If you go up and down one side street, you've got a shade of yellow with certain lumens on this one, and go down to another, and it's totally different. That will all be uniform with the same LED on all the ones that they replace. And it's going to be the soft lighting that Heather had suggested that.
So your proposal is that we do all 80%, what is it?
75.
75
was their
watt
figure.
lights with the 25 watt,
Mhm.
2,900 aluminum.
Right.
Well,
The areas that are in a commercial district are almost exclusively village owned. You talk about up and down Franklin Avenue, we own those lights, so it's up to us to decide what we want to put in there.
Yeah.
And that's a separate proposal.
Yeah, sure.
There's 30 of those lights, and they're up and down Franklin Avenue, they're around Tribute Park,
Okay.
around,
So
Green.
any
Tribute
board
Park.
question or comments regarding the proposal for the 75 streetlights? These are the tall pole lights we're talking about. Any? Okay. Anybody from the audience for a comment?
I was just kind of looking for specific information. I think Brian had said there was one lamp somewhere where the 25 watt 2900 was installed, but did we ever find out where?
So he gave us a lamp number and I couldn't find it.
He was in the town of Stanford with some.
Oh, that one I didn't go for. He gave us one for on Front Street.
I thought it was somewhere here.
Yeah, there were two different ones, and in both cases, we couldn't locate the lamp post because it didn't have an ID number or something that would allow us to say, oh, this is it.
Yeah, I could only find numbers on the Cobra style. I couldn't find numbers on the other ones. just because I think it, you know, it would be useful to be able to actually see a sample of what it is you're asking for before you end up having them all replaced and find out what, you know, what
They're
there's an
blue.
issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, I mean,
Well, I asked Mike Schultz, who recommended that we have them convert one and see what it looks like. We could do that.
Yeah, we can go with, when we speak to the new representative, other than obviously Brian.
Oh, we're gonna find out who's replacing
We
it.
can say we're ready to adopt the proposal, but we want a sample first to be able to see what it's gonna look like and make sure that matches the lot, especially
That makes
since,
sense.
especially since it's gonna be in residential area.
Yeah, sure.
so I guess I didn't understand that the project was not also including Franklin, so can you just explain which lights are part of it? Is it just the ones in the, is it just the Cobra ones in the residential area?
Primarily, yes.
Okay,
yeah.
I didn't understand that.
Yeah, there's by the figures that we got when they analyzed what lights we own, what lights Central Hudson own. The ones in the residential areas are the Cobra lights, right, and they are the ones that would be affected. Now, the ones that I call the bell shape that are up and down Franklin Avenue, that don't have the overhang Cobra effect, those are owned by us, and they're ornamental in nature, and you pointed out correctly, they're not necessarily the best style of light, but that's what was put in years ago in order to go with the feel and the aesthetic effect that we wanted in the village, not recently, this was kind of more before I was on board, but that's what was put in, and it may not be the most efficient way to do the sidewalk lighting, but that's what's there, and you're talking about a massive amount of money to go ahead and now replace those lights with other.
Yeah, let's not go there.
Yeah, that's a whole different proposal at this point. What we can do, and what I would propose to do, is that when we do get this done through Central Hudson, we're going to get a $5,000 grant from the Hudson Regional Council that's ours to spend on any kind of a green technology improvement, and we can take the ones that are LED that we own and keep them, and take the ones that are not LED and convert them to LED with that $5,000. But it depends on, that would be up to the board on what they want to spend the money on.
Are the ones on Franklin are already LED?
But I can't tell you what wattage they are or what their lumens are.
It might be interesting to just, I mean, I think the fixtures are old. It might be interesting to see, there might be like an aftermarket shield that could go on top to sort of get the light down lower, and you might be able to do a lower brightness.
I don't know. I think those lights, and this is speculation on my part, I haven't verified it, that the money for those lights, a lot of it came from tribute gardens initially, because they wanted to make that look, the same all the way through the entrance to the village and the lights themselves. So I would think that realistically, you have to go to them and say, do you want to make this change? Yeah, change the actual structure. It's not like we have.
I think we're getting off the topic, but because that's a separate further on down the road. But let's focus on the 75. So, do you want to make a proposal now to make a conversion, or do you want to go and change one? Request that they change one so we can see exactly what it looks like.
I could add it to the proposal I have if you want. Okay, I would like to make a motion. The village board adopt the proposal to convert Central Hudson home streetlights from sodium bulb fixtures to LED 25-watt 2900 lumen fixtures. The CCTK rating is 3000 K. This would be at a cost of $11,798.16, with a Central Hudson incentive that would make the final cost $8,758.12. Final cost. I would make this motion contingent on having one light installed to then be evaluated by the board to make sure it meets specification for proper lighting.
I like that.
Yeah, that's good.
Any problems with that motion?
Yeah, you can.
I think that covers all the bases.
Yeah.
All right, so we get a second.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, good, motion carries. And then, you need help finding who took over for Brian,
Yeah.
what's his case, let me know. Okay. Mike, can you send me, or I guess Sarah needs some documentation of that motion,
Yes.
right? So can
Okay.
you send an email or,
Yeah, I've got it here, but I'll send you
I know, I
electronically.
can see that.
Yeah,
Then you're
okay.
gonna cut it. Okay, fine. Thank you, Mike. Okay, moving on. Trustee Doral, the public hearing for the resolution to keep thoroughfares clear. Do we need a discussion or do we need a discussion?
Well,
I'll make a
to have the
motion.
motion to open the public hearing, hold the public hearing, close public hearing, seeker,
Okay, yeah.
and then
I'll make a motion to open the public hearing. Do I have a second?
I'll send it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any
It's
opposed?
open.
Okay, good. Okay, any discussion or any comments about the plan to update chapter 79?
I
Okay,
think there was some questions about the language specifically, so we have to, do
What
we have
was
to
it?
address that, or,
what questions were those?
I know there was some concerns brought up about the language itself as to how we were gonna frame the,
That's a different one.
No, that's the moratorium, that's separate. This one here was pretty clear cut. We
Oh, okay,
agreed
all right.
to last month. Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, okay. Ian, what's the next step?
so the next step is to do your environmental review. I provided parts 1 and 2 of a full environmental assessment form. Part 1 has the background information. Part 2 is the analysis that you do. And in this case, you're just amending your village code. So I've completed it that there would be no significant adverse environmental impacts. And then part 3 is your determination. You can issue, if the board finds that there are no adverse environmental impacts, you would issue a negative declaration. The mayor would sign part 3 of the EAF, and then I prepared a secret resolution containing the findings that essentially there are no adverse environmental impacts.
Okay, so how do we do this?
Uh,
First off, does anyone have any concerns in terms of the fact that we stated there's no environmental impact of this change? Okay. So given that, you just need to adopt the resolution, the secret resolution, which is resolution number, is it LL?
It's the first page.
Yeah, I did know it. Yeah, so the first page in the packet. Intent to declare lead agency, so the village board will serve as lead agency. There are no other involved agencies. And then you're making your determination that there will not be any adverse environmental impacts and issuing a negative declaration. You just need a motion to adopt the resolution, second, and then.
Make a motion?
I'll make that motion.
In a second?
Second.
Okay, got it. Roll call.
Mayor Collopy,
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Murphy,
Aye.
Trustee Herzog,
Aye.
Trustee Cantino,
Aye.
Trustee Doral.
Aye.
So that resolution is adopted, and then the next is to adopt the resolution enacting the local law, which is amending chapter 79 of the village code. Again,
It's the last 2 pages of that packet.
last,
I'll make that motion.
Okay. And a roll call?
need a
Oh,
second.
second. Second?
Second. And then roll call vote.
Mayor Collopy,
Aye.
Trustee Herzog,
Aye.
Trustee Cantino,
Aye.
Trustee Doro,
Aye.
Trustee Murphy.
Aye.
And that's it, so you're,
Okay.
you have
We're
amended
gonna sum it
chapter
up.
79.
I think it changes every time, by the way. Do you think so? Just a little bit. Okay, good, so that's done.
Yep.
Very good. Okay, next. Trustee Doro, tell us about the moratorium.
Okay, so the moratorium, we started discussing it last month. Deputy Mayor Murphy rightfully had some feedback on basically allowing kind of certain matter of course applications. So you'll see those in section 8. So this moratorium will affect some developments, site plan, special use permits, and variance approvals in the RLD district. There's a handy map that was included in this as well. Thank you, Sarah, that was great. What will not be included, which is basically the main change from last time, again, is in section 8. Construction of single-family dwellings or two-family dwellings on a parcel that is in existence at the time. Accessory structures that are customary and incidental to a principal residential use, garages, swimming pools, sheds, barns, existing valid building permits, and subdivisions of land with proposed minimum lot size of at least 10 acres. So we will, if this motion passes, we will take the 6 months to look at the RLD district and to determine if we need to make any changes to that district concerning certain parcels.
So this is only a resolution for us to approve the resolution to the board so we can go to have a public hearing the following
Next
month.
month, correct.
Okay, fine. Any questions or comments regarding this proposed moratorium? Okay, we'll make the motion.
I'll make that motion.
In a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Motion passed and
I have a
the,
roll call.
oh, your roll call, that's
Mayor Collopy,
Aye.
Trustee Herzog,
Aye.
Trustee Cantino,
Aye.
Trustee Doro,
Aye.
Trustee Murphy.
Aye.
Okay. And that sets the public hearing for the next board meeting now.
At the firehouse,
At the firehouse,
Without Sarah.
without me.
and we'll see. Okay, good. All right, next is the Climate Smart Community Benchmarking Resolution, Trustee Herzog.
Okay. This resolution basically was asked to be presented and then hopefully passed by the people we're working with, Climate Smart Communities, the Hudson Regional Council. The background to it is when you talk about benchmarking, let me just quickly read you what we mean by benchmarking. Genevieve Glasson compiled and filed a greenhouse gas inventory for all 3 village buildings we're talking about. The village hall, the sewer treatment plant, office area, and the highway garage. It involved calculating use of electricity, fuel, heating oil, and those figures translated to emissions to the environment and carbon generation from the years 2022. Since then, numbers from that were compared to 2023. That's the process called benchmarking, and the two are compared, and the benchmarking process was started by and finished by Genevieve in 2024. The Mid-Hudson Regional Council would like a commitment from us in the form of this resolution that says this is something we're going to be doing on an annual basis moving forward. It'll reflect increases and decreases in any of the areas that could happen in the things I talked about for any one of a number of reasons. We're going to be publishing the results of that benchmarking with on the village website, and basically this effort is just showing a clear indication the village is aware of our energy consumption, and as a community that is taking the CSC pledge, we're committed to trying to reduce our carbon footprint in the future. It does not come with any kind of stipulations, meaning if our carbon emissions go up or go down in a period of time, there are no consequences. It's simply showing in good faith that we are publishing our results of the carbon emissions and being able to let the public know what's going on from that standpoint. Okay? And it's one of the things that we basically is just showing what we're doing on the pledge we took to be a climate smart community in the first place. There is free training with an hour-and-a-half workshop that goes with it. Genevieve has already said that she prepared the original greenhouse gas inventory and did the benchmarking. She will help going forward, whatever person ends up being able to take over the benchmarking process and be able to kind of guide them through it so that they can do that. And the regional council offers 1.5 training sessions for this process for free. So there is no cost to the village in any way for this.
So the benchmarking for this year's already been done,
Yes,
right? And she's going to assist with the benchmarking for next year,
correct.
right? So we should be off to a good start. Any questions regarding this proposed resolution?
I just had one question.
Yes.
I don't know if you all saw the email from Mary Lambert earlier this month that the HBRC decided not to move forward with the Duchess climate. I don't know if that was the same thing.
No, it
No, that's a separate kind of.
I think they were trying to get a county-wide where they get as many municipalities on board as possible to do it in one fell swoop at the county level, as opposed to municipality by municipality.
Okay.
But obviously they couldn't pull that together, so within weeks they withdrew the offer and said we'll try this again at a later time.
Okay.
And if we pass the benchmarking resolution, then essentially we'll be making that commitment and be adding to our, hopefully, building pot of pledge elements that we can add to all this to get to bronze by the end of the year.
Which is still our goal, right?
Yes.
End of this year.
The goal, end of this year. Yeah.
Okay. You're working on that with Jen. So any concerns or questions regarding the resolution? Can I get a motion? Oh, is this a voting thing again?
Yes,
Of
but I
course.
need a motion as I can do.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Okay.
Mayor Collopy,
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Murphy,
Aye.
Trustee Herzog,
Aye.
Trustee Cantino, Trustee Dworkin.
Aye.
Okay, very good. Okay, any public comments? All right, board member updates, Mayor.
Well, you met with Tom Harvey, with Franklin.
Yeah, that's
to
right.
go over any engineering.
So we did a
We
walkthrough,
did a walkthrough on that.
phases 3 and 4.
For phases
Have
3
you
and
haven't
4.
heard back from them yet?
Haven't heard back.
We've asked for a cost estimate, right?
Yeah,
Okay, good.
and then we finished the top of Franklin Avenue sidewalk project, and I helped Scott set homes.
All right, all right, good. Okay. Trustee Herzog.
Okay, we have one other thing under new business I was going to introduce, and that is it's a proposed change to criteria when considered village-owned trees. What that amounts to.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
That's
Thank
okay.
you.
Under the Shade Tree Commission rules that we have, the adopted rules, bylaws, I guess you call them, we have a clause in it that says that the trees that are being considered as in the municipal right-of-way is defined as 25 feet from the center of the road into the then residence property that is adjoining the street there. And essentially what Bob Colacola for months before he left was saying, this is becoming, using that guideline is becoming unrealistic and becoming incredibly expensive. The reason being that if you take a standard road, whether it's going to be Maple Avenue or it's Front Street or anything else, you've got a standard width of pretty close to anywhere from 25 to 30 feet in width, okay? And then if you're going from the middle of the road and then in, you get a border of usually somewhere around 6 to 7 feet, of where a tree is that would then become a tree that would be responsible
Mhm.
for being able to take down, to do whatever. And it's our budget for that process has tripled in the last 6 or 7 years. And we're spending a heck of a lot more money taking down trees than we are planting new trees because of the process. The trees we're talking about are owned technically by the homeowner. Okay, when they buy a lot and they buy a house, they own that property right up to the curb. But we're trying to be using the right of way. So yes, if we want to put in a sidewalk, we've got a certain amount of space from the curb in that we can do that with. And but at this point, it's becoming untenable to continue that way because we're going to be spending gobs of money to be able to take down trees and not making the investment we should be in putting in money to plant more trees at the same
I
time.
think the problem is exacerbated on places like Ruth Court.
Yeah.
The small roadways.
Yeah, we have private roads like Ruth
Yeah.
Court and other places where it's
Well, not
almost
private.
one lane road. It's been converted to a municipal road. And when you measure 25 feet from the center line, you're going 12 to 13 feet into someone's property, beyond the fence in some cases, to have those trees considered village trees. And a couple of years ago, we had to take out 12 dead pine trees along Booth Court at a considerable expense that were literally 12 feet into the property and beyond the fence, which is I mean, we're no longer, we would no more likely be taking that, using our right of way, and that is to put in a sidewalk as jump off the building. And
So what is the proposal?
so the proposal is, I brought up the Shade Tree Commission, we did extensive discussion about it, and we came up with a figure of 6 feet from the edge of the road on either side, so that would take care of basically the trees you have along Franklin Avenue and along most of the roads that you have outside of that in a standard size width. And we would be able to retain that, but we would get away from having to do it in excessive situations like Booth Court, where you've got a super small road and it exceeds the standard width.
Any questions or comments regarding the proposal?
Sounds good.
No? Any comments from the public?
Go narrower.
Yeah, I know, and that's the point.
I would love it if there were fewer trees that were under the village purview, quite frankly.
So
Okay.
now, I don't know how you classify this because it's under the Shade Tree Commission bylaws.
So that's a question for Ian,
So
is
it's
how
a
do we
question. How do we do this?
codify this?
So we codify it.
By the way, right now the 25-foot thing is nowhere to be found.
No,
It's just like a historical.
it's a policy that we've adopted.
That you
for
adopted, but
decades.
it's not documented
No.
anywhere.
So what I was thinking about is why can we add that to the bylaws of the Shade Tree Commission?
You could, the other way, you could do it by local law, you could do it just by resolution, and it's your policy. You know, I spoke to Mike about this, my only concern is that, even setting it at 6 feet from the, edge of the roadway.
Edge of the roadway, yeah.
Not every road is, the same.
That's true.
And so on some roads that may be still, 6 feet from the edge of the road, may be within the property that's owned by the village or within the village right of way, but other roads it may not be.
Nominally,
Is
it makes no difference.
Okay.
Right? For roads which have curbs that are standard size, doesn't change anything. It really is addressing those cases where the roads are not normal, uniform.
Yeah, and this would not apply to village-owned property. If we have a
course
property, it's just strictly when we're talking about places where we have homeowners or businesses that have that situation.
So what about a proposal, Mike, for a resolution to update the Shade Tree Committee bylaws?
That would be fine.
Why don't you make that proposal?
Yeah, okay, now we need it in the form of resolution.
Or just say it.
Okay, I'd like to be able to reform or to change the current bylaws under the Shade Tree Commission, which specify a 25-foot center of the road right-of-way, which gives us ownership or maintenance of trees to 6 feet on either side of the road.
From the edge.
From the edge of the road.
Let me try to get,
I just ask one question
yes.
first. Heather, in your experience, how do other municipalities handle this? Do you know?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Well, the last time I had George Profis here, who was the DEC urban forester, who represents this area as well as place on the other side of the river as well. I told him about this and he was smiling, and I said, why are you smiling? He said, because every municipality has its own different interpretation of what's their tree. He said, the first question I ask when I come in of any municipality is, what's your guideline on what your village trees are or town trees and what is private property, that you're not going to touch regardless. And so he said they're as varied as animals in the zoo. He said they go at all. And Bob had found 3 other municipalities in Dutchess County that had totally different, interpretations of exactly the same thing. So,
I'm not surprised that the existing one is measured, that's a typical way to do things generically speaking, to measure from the center line. You deal with that with state roads all the time, and not necessarily regarding trees, but just as a way to sort of deal with trying to explain something in relationship to the road. I haven't looked at a ton of them, so I don't really know. I'd be happy to look into it or use Mike's idea. I don't know.
I'd rather just go with this proposal.
yeah.
There's no objection.
I'm happy to spend less money on this.
Mhm.
I'm also just wondering if there's an even better solution out there. I'm not saying there is.
Okay.
I'm not on the Shade Tree Committee, but
Do you think, is there?
I think this is probably, we need something with a footage, and that's what he and I talked about for about 20 minutes, saying, it should be within the parameters of the village right of way, but unless you establish a footage area, then every time you look at a different tree on a different property, you're not, without a footage guideline, it's,
I want
it's
something written down somewhere, but I don't know.
yeah, and
Right now, the
something
25 foot thing is-
concrete. I mean, if it gets challenged down the road by a homeowner who says, no, that's your tree, and I'm taking it to court, then I'll let them fight it out in court about what's, considered.
I guess my question is would it be better to make it a local law as opposed to making it a Shade Tree bylaw that I don't know how much.
The advantage of the
legal
local law
standing it
is
has.
arguably you have to have a public hearing.
Sure.
You get, or can get input. It's also more of a public document. You can incorporate it into your village code if you want to, so that people can see it. Whereas I assume most people, maybe they can see it on the website, but they don't know to look for the Shade Tree Commission
Maybe public works
bylaws.
is local,
Yeah.
okay, fine, yeah.
But it's up to the board. My only point is that, the village shouldn't, and I don't think we want to, maintain trees that are not in the village right of way, that are on private property. So when any arbitrary distance in feet potentially could go on to, just because I shouldn't say all roads are different, but some roads are different depending on how they're created. Dedicated roads, it should be pretty standard, because there are standards in how far they're supposed to be improved. But, you have some roads that were created prior to those rules going into effect, prior to planning board being in existence, things like that. So to say, whatever, 6 feet from edge of the roadway, you may be going on to private
Is there a standard definition of right-of-way, municipal right-of-way.
So under the highway law, the roads are supposed to be improved up to 3 rods, which is roughly 50 feet. And, but again, I don't know when that law went into effect. And you have some roads that have existed longer than those laws were in effect. You have some that, you've what are called user roads, which is like a prescriptive easement type of road where it's private property, but because of use by the public and maintenance by the municipality over a period of time, the public has acquired the right to use those roads, and the municipality has assumed or has acquired the obligation to maintain them, even though it's a private road. It's private property, the road bed itself.
Well, that's the road itself.
Yeah.
But the reality is that if someone has a tree that's dead, without any leaves on it, and it's absolutely obviously dead and becomes unsafe, then the village can't ignore it, and at the same time, the property owners are, if it's adjacent to the road within a couple of feet, are going to expect that as part of the maintenance of the road, that the village is going to take down what they consider, unsafe, things that are in unsafe condition. And if there's a problem because someone says this is a bad tree and we don't take it down, and then it does come down, then they're not going to just sue the property owner, they're going to sue us.
Well, whether they sue or not, that doesn't matter.
No, but I'm saying that's the reality.
For example, there are trees that are just over 15 or 25 feet from the center. I'll give you one at the top of Franklin, right? It's
Right.
not ours though. And all we can do is we can notify the homeowner, the property owner, that tree is in danger, you should have it taken care of.
Right.
That's what all we can do. I don't want to do anymore. I don't want to start going into
And neither do I.
somebody's
That's
property.
part of what
to
this
take care of their
proposal is
trees.
about, yeah.
And if we do that, that's what homeowners should do. If there's a dangerous tree near their property, they should, correct me if I'm wrong, they should send a certified letter to the neighbor.
Yeah,
The neighbor is then on notice.
right.
That tree
If it
falls,
falls, then they're
then-
liable.
they're liable.
Right. No, you're right. Again, I'll come back to what I want to achieve here is to get it codified somewhere, what the criteria is.
So
Right now,
I don't know if you remember, we changed the code for the shade tree so that we can modify policy. So we took like a lot of restrictions out of the code so
Oh,
that
that's
we
right.
can change it without having to do it.
that's right, the village code actually says, see the bylaws of the shade tree committee, that's right. We're doing that now. And I would still prefer to do that, I'll put it in there.
Sounds good.
So it's easier to adjust it later we find out, well, here's a better way to do it.
Right.
So I want to come back to making the motion that you want to propose that you change the STC bylaws to include a definition of what's a village owned tree, which is 6 foot from the edge of the road.
Correct.
Is that true?
Right.
All right, so that's the motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Any opposed? Okay, good. So that then charges you, Mike, to go update the bylaws to reflect that change.
Okay.
All right? And it doesn't hurt to go and do addition, check around to see if someone else has a better idea. But let's just get that in there so we got something to look at.
Okay.
All right, thanks. Trustee Durrell, anything needed?
No. Okay, let me get back, because I have to do this.
You're not done yet?
No. Shade Tree Commission, all right?
I won't forget you.
Members have inspected the following trees. One on the corner of Maple and Franklin, they're one across street from tennis courts, 2 on the corner of Hillside Avenue and Haight Avenue. These trees are healthy and should be removed. There are 3 other trees yet to be inspected. That's part of my notes. One would be in front of Merritt Bookstore, and on one on the Dean Road next to the telephone pole that are diseased and unsafe, and then at the firehouse, which has already been inspected by 2 certified arborists, will need an evaluation from the third before the action's taken on that tree. Okay?
So again, you need to give me definitively, I like it written down, which trees the shade tree committee recognizes need to be taken down.
Based on the new guidelines.
Oh, based on the
Hopefully,
okay,
right?
yeah,
Let's
sure.
not, let's not go backwards.
All right, that's good, sure, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, all right, the second thing was the 14 trees planted in the spring are being watered by village highway personnel twice a week as per instructions from Wilbur Gardens and Adam Landscaping. And basically, we discussed the fact that the plantings that we're going to be having the DEC reviewed by on the Dean Road. And finally, I plan on working with Trustee Peter Duro in filing our completed pledge element requirements so we can achieve bronze status hopefully this year. The LED light conversions in the village we plan on doing, as well as new possible plantings at the DEC site, trees for trim site, will help us get to the 120 points we need to reach that goal. Genevieve Blasson feels we may have completed enough requirements already to file that application. We need to document each pledge element with verified written proof of finished requirements. And finally, I attended a CAC meeting on July 2nd. The meeting mostly focused on a proposal to establish an inn at the old Cottonwood building and renovate the adjacent individual rental rooms on the property next door. The proposal is to convert the large building to accommodate 32 guests and the adjacent buildings 8 guests. There is still some unclear items as to will that constitute 2 inns or will that be 1, but based on the hospitality overlay, the overlay called for 3 separate inns added to the overlay throughout the town. So that will be a question that has to be explored when it comes, when it goes beyond to the planning.
What was the meeting? Was that just an informational meeting, or was actually a proposal to the planning board?
No, that's a proposal to the planning board.
That was
Yeah. There's a proposal in front of the planning board now for the Cottonwood site.
Moving right along there.
We were told there wasn't any proposals, but
Right.
then the next week there was.
Right.
There was.
That's amazing.
Funny how that works.
Okay, anything else?
That's it.
Trustee Catino?
I have 2 quick things.
Sure.
So, Deputy Mayor Murphy, myself, and Tim, the mayor, are working on updating the code as regards litter and the time, place, and manner restrictions on scooters, skateboards, and bikes.
What was the first thing, Trustee Contino, regarding what? Litter?
Litter. So I think this month, we're gonna take a little time to finally refocus on that and come back with some ideas at the next meeting.
Cool.
That's that.
By the way, the skateboards, are you looping the chief on this?
I will bring him up.
Yeah, good,
Because I
because,
was working with Jared before, so yes.
I think I've talked to him before about this, in fact, because we really don't have a code for e-bikes, e-scooters, kind of stuff. And I'm not sure what the code says about regular bikes and scooters. We certainly need to have some direction in terms of where they can and can't go. I don't know if you're thinking about whether they have to have helmets.
I was trying to look up the state regulations for the
Oh, is that
electric
right?
bikes, because they're everywhere.
Yeah, they are.
There's so
Right.
many people with kids too,
Right.
they're young.
You know, do they have to have helmets?
Yeah, there's like a speed limit. Apparently they are legal from what I was
Speed limit?
reading.
Okay.
There's a speed limit as to what they can travel at.
E-bikes?
Yeah, the e-bikes, and then also I believe that, I just briefly read it. I believe that they can't use any state roads, they can use smaller municipality roads maybe, something along those lines.
All right, so let's make sure that the chief's in the loop on this because he probably has some prior experience that we're.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
Okay, go ahead. That's good.
So, yeah, so that's that piece, and then, I think we're starting to see light at the end of the tunnel on the police policy procedures
All right.
manual, so, and that's largely thanks to the chief who's taken over, our little committee and is now taking the lead, in assessing the provisions, so hopefully we'll be able to report on that soon as a
The one thing is we've done,
close to finish item.
we've done like 2/3 of the chapter, but the chief has said he needs to go back himself to make sure he's comfortable with what we've previously, which really makes sense. That's gonna slow the process down, and I'm all for that, because it's gotta look something that you agree with it. So, that's part of the things, what's going on, or just all the things you're working on. But, that's good, yeah, okay.
Yeah, as long as it's there.
All right, yeah, that's good. Going back to the code changes, I thought you were just working on litter and making sure landlords had disposals for all their tenants. But you've added in this additional chapter, skateboards and all that kind of stuff, right?
Oh, you asked us, I didn't make that up, you asked us to do both.
I did?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know that, okay, fine.
No, I don't add anything.
It needs to be done.
Portfolio.
I appreciate it. I was gonna say, thanks for picking that up as well, it's like kind of extra credit.
No, yeah.
I feel like the e-bikes are a little bit like newer.
Yeah,
I've seen
they are.
them more and more this year, like crazy.
I know,
Yeah.
okay,
They're nuts.
and they can be dangerous. Okay, good. So my comments are, I had a request to approve allowing an ice cream truck and a hot dog vendor at the MAG concerts up there on the band shell. And initially I said, and Sarah, help me out here, that's, they need a permit
Right.
to do what do we call
Yeah, they had a solicitor slash peddlers.
a peddler's permit, that's right. Which made sense to me, especially given that these are not vendors who are doing it as part of a nonprofit, they're in to make money.
The line's needs to be you.
Well, that's right, but we were adding to
Oh,
our
yeah.
fundraising thing,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
That's why I was okay.
yeah.
But pushback came from MAG saying that basically that makes it untenable because these guys are not gonna come, knowing that we're gonna make less than $150 permit cost. And so therefore, can we do something to let that go? So I wanna bring it to the board. So your perspective is again, you said you had a good idea.
I don't know what my idea was.
I initially wanted to fill out the permit form, and you said instead of that, we should just have them get a board of
Oh,
inspection.
yeah, like just submit like that they're good with the Board of Health and.
Yeah, there's no liquor, so there's no liquor unless it's required.
Right, because I don't even think it's gonna be every concert, I think it's only gonna be a few concerts and
Okay,
what are they, an hour and a half or something.
all right, so that's the uniqueness thing is, and you also said the reason why we have that pandering, not pandering, what's that?
The peddler.
Peddler thing is because we had people coming to the village knocking on doors.
Right,
And
it
we
was
wanted-
more for the door-to-door
Right,
service,
Okay.
like way back when.
all right, so what I'm proposing to the board is, do you have a problem with me saying to these guys, you can bring your vendor trucks to the night concerts as long as you show proof of having passed a health inspection, Department of Health inspection? And wait for the permit.
And I would just say that they should have their permit on premises and visible for review. In other words, instead of trying to have them send it all to the office, that's something they should be carrying with them so that they know that you are board certified by the Department of Health.
Okay.
to
That's
do
a
that.
problem. Anything else I should require in order for this to happen?
Is there a limit to how many can come or how? I mean,
I
I'm not
think-
saying we want to limit it, because I think the idea of having food trucks that,
I think Mag was, your idea was they would like vary it, but only have a few, they weren't gonna have them.
so they're gonna control them.
Yeah, they're gonna
Yeah.
control it, yeah.
Okay.
The idea was basically to try to help draw more people to the concerts because
Right.
they would have a place. I mean, it used to be that the Rotary had a popcorn stand that some other group
No, I
in
get all
town
that.
did
My
you know.
question was more, who's gonna be in the business of telling this person they can't be there?
Mag will
But
take care of
this-
it, yeah, Mag will take care of that. So should I do a resolution or proposal, resolution for everyone? Or just based on this word is sufficient?
Sounds good.
I think just based on the sort of
All right,
sufficient,
fine.
because you've got a concert schedule that starts,
Yeah,
and that's already started, so.
all right, the other thing on my mind is, I want, have someone come give us an estimate to paint the outside of the village hall.
Yay.
I don't know what the cost is yet, so we'll find out what the cost is, and based on that. Now, Pat, one thing I want to know is, one time you looked at the peeling on the side walls, which tried to be crazy,
Yeah.
and you said it's just the paint, or maybe it's not the paint? How serious?
I'll have Jason look at it, or somebody look at it.
Do you have somebody that can come look at this and give us an assessment? Because I want this thing fixed so it,
Holds up.
10 years, 15
Yeah.
years from now, it still looks like brand new,
Yeah.
all right?
Yeah. Me
The way it
too.
looks now is just embarrassing. I want
It is,
this
yeah.
fixed.
Same.
Okay,
I'll
I
make
think-
sure that whatever we're looking into, that it's completed correctly and
Yeah.
that we get fair bids across the board for everybody.
all right, so you'll do that?
Yeah.
Okay,
I
good.
think there may be some minor stucco work involved in places where the stucco has actually.
Well, the good part is,
peeled.
since I've been here, it
That's
hasn't gotten worse. I mean, it's peeled and stayed like that, which is surprising to me how that happens. So I really don't understand what's going on. But you want somebody to come look at it?
I'll let somebody
You give us a quote?
with a professional, like real professional opinion on stucco, and then I'll
Okay, good.
see who wants to do it.
All right, good. Now, should I go pursue someone for the painting after that? I'm not gonna do that.
It might be both. They might be doing it together.
That sounds good.
I think basically on a stucco, I see visually around
Yeah.
the building, it's a very, very small amount, so whoever's gonna be painting will also be doing the
People.
stucco.
Okay, fine.
So just have me look into
As
that.
all right, that's excellent. Okay, good. And the other thing I want you to know is that for some reason, the village is the proud owner of 125 shares of Newmont Corporation, which is the largest gold mining corporation in the world. And I want to sell that stock. It's worth now about $5,000. I think it's crazy that we have stock that we receive a dividend on every 3 months. And I'd like to wait for our next dividend statement to actually have in hand how you go about the process of selling our stock and bring it to the board. Any comments or questions about
We've
that?
done this before.
Yeah, we have.
Sounds good.
All right.
How did you get the stock?
We have no idea,
Assume somebody donated it.
probably.
There are the names of half a dozen different funds that we had.
When
on
we get the
books
next
that-
company service statement, we'll look at it and see if there's anything in there. I'm pretty sure there isn't.
You have the authority to sell it, and should. the
All right,
board
fine.
should
I'll bring it back to the
motion.
board, once I have it in hand.
Yeah,
Because, oh, by the way, the stock has appreciated since.
Gold's up.
Gold's
Gold's
up,
up,
way
yeah.
up, yeah.
Yeah. Well, this organization actually had a problem with the organization, and they took it on the chin about a year and a half ago, but they're on the up and up, so.
Gold's up, dollars down.
Yeah, okay, so anyway, I'll bring it back to the board when I actually confront it. Okay, with that, I want to, yeah, I want to end the meeting. Do I end the meeting first and just go straight to
no, you have to go into executive session.
I'll make a motion to go into
Second.
executive session. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Gavin, so this is the part where I need to actually